Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 26 of the Braindrizzle podcast. Unfortunately, no guest this week, so we have broken the guest hostful pattern.
Whatever shall we do?
Yeah, but who gives a fuck, because recording this has been a pain in the ass lately, so you're going to listen and you're going to fucking like it. We've had just the worst luck with Skype.
Yeah, you would not believe the kind of luck we've had. It's like we feel very, very trolled by fate, trolled by the internet. Yes, the internet has come alive, it is sentient, and it is exacting its revenge.
We have done some horrible things to it, so, you know.
Yes, we have.
Anyways, I want to do a quick announcement. Maybe this is only new to me, but for a while you could access the old sort of thumbnail-tiled subscription layout on YouTube, and now they're forcing people to go into, like, the feed style. Mm-hmm. So what I recommend to make sure you see our videos, because like with the new layout, it is very easy for videos to be pushed down. Like, only 5 fit on screen at one time.
That's bullshit.
So, you know, follow the Facebook, follow the Twitter. You can set the channel to email you when we upload. Another good idea is make a, like, science collection of subscriptions, so it's easier to organize your stuff.
Yeah, YouTube be doing too much. It got me fucked up.
But that, and if you didn't see, if for some reason you missed Brainstorm or the vlog, go check that out and continue to share it, because with the new system, sharing is even more important.
Sharing is caring.
Yes. Alright, let's get into the news.
News!
One thing we did, I don't believe we got any questions on the last podcast, did we?
I'm not sure, but we'll take time to answer those. See, we're only getting like a few questions at a time, so we want to kind of let those build up. So no questions answered this week. Wait until the next hostful.
But leave your questions in the comments.
Yeah, please do.
And if you are one of the few people that listen to us on iTunes, leave comments there too, because that does help us out.
Oh, cool. Good.
Anyways, enough of that bullshit. So my first story is about spinal cord injury, because I thought I would sort of somewhat address the question from last week about spinal cord regeneration. And a team from somewhere, we're very professional people.
We are. This team exists. We swear that we swear.
Cleveland Clinic. Okay.
Haha.
I've been experimenting with nerve grafts, and they did a combination of something called fibroblast growth factor and a scar-destroying enzyme in mice, and they were able to restore bladder function.
Woot! Man. Yes, Christopher Walken will be walking again. Or, no, wait. Christopher... The Superman guy.
Hawking?
No, the guy who fell off the horse and got the spinal injury used to play Superman. Christopher something.
I don't know.
Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves will be walking like Christopher Walken. There we go.
Well...
Nailed it.
Just... For now, just pissing, eventually.
That's good. Well, it's a step up.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a small thing, but I mean, if this was applied to human, that's like major quality of life for people with paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, I'm told, I mean, I'm in a wheelchair, but I don't have paralysis. I'm told if you're paralyzed that far down, it's a catheter up the hoo-ha, so...
I don't even want to think about that.
So, anyway, so, again, just in mice for now, but still some good news. But the one thing I don't understand is, I didn't even know mice had much bladder control.
Huh. Yeah, I know. It's just like, I thought they just, like, peed all over this. Well, I guess they don't have to pee in a certain spot, so they can just let freedom ring.
But I guess that if you're paralyzed down there, you just don't pee.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, oh god. And also, I just want to say real quick, the Cleveland Clinic, for a minute, that sounded like innuendo.
What?
Because there's a thing called the Cleveland Steamer, which I don't know what
right.
it is, but it sounds like innuendo. I don't even know if that's even a real thing.
You don't want to know what it is.
Yeah, probably not. That's probably why I don't know, is because I don't want to know.
I know. And it
Oh, dear
haunts
God.
me.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, the internet. It's great. Okay, next story.
Awesome place. Real kid friendly. Fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Okay, next story.
Yeah, next story. Okay, now, I'm gonna say I take way too much joy out of this story, and it's a real dick move that I do.
Oh, yeah?
But scientists have conclusively proven that a certain kind of herbal remedy causes urinary tract cancer.
You're just mean, man. Just let the schadenfreude flow.
I know, but it's so good. The irony is so good. It's from aristolochic acid, which is found in a certain kind of plant commonly called birthwort. Which really, why would you ingest something called that? But really, it's used in a lot of traditional medicine, even though the FDA has shown that it can cause cancer. And now they've done genomic analysis of urinary tract cancer, and it's like hang on, let me get the exact numbers.
Those effing numbers.
So, urinary tract cancer resulting from exposure to the substance in the herb results in an average of 753 mutations. Whereas normal cancer not associated with this is 91.
So not only gives you cancer, it gives you super cancer.
It's approximately 8 times the mutation rate from being exposed to this natural compound.
Wow. Nature, you a bitch.
But like, people still do this.
Okay, and just real quick for the people who might be like, okay, I'll just avoid birthwort, blah blah blah. Okay, herbal remedies are not monitored by the FDA, and there's really no standard making them disclose what the hell is in there. So even if you buy something that doesn't even have birthwort in it, or it says on the package, it still might be in there, man. There might be sawdust in there, man. You could literally be taking anything if you take these herbal supplements. Now, I mean, if you go online, you can sometimes find sites where, they try to regulate it. It's just like, okay, these companies are, seem to be the most legit from what we've tested and everything. But it's kind of like this weird independent oversight that does not take into consideration the whole purview of these herbal supplements. It has a very, very limited scope. It's not a very big thing, and not only that, but I don't even know that much. I've only found one site that's connected to one organization that I wasn't able to find very much information about that was trying to, screen these things. I mean, it's not even at all a good idea, because, okay, remember back, if you know some history, remember back, the turn of the last century, around, the 1900s, where they'd sell you tonics for baby colic, and that shit had fucking heroin in it. Stop your baby from crying at night with this miracle cure, and it's cannabis oil and heroin. Or morphine, or fucking cocaine, isn't it? Yes, gives your baby cocaine.
Opium. Delicious opium.
Yeah, I mean, just crack baby took on a whole... Crack baby meant something else back then.
And,
yeah.
I understand that a lot of people's gripes with big pharmaceutical companies, but for the most part, I think it's the lesser of two evils.
It is. It really, really is. I mean, unless you're growing the herbs your damn self.
Even then, it's still like the least efficient way to absorb medicinal compounds.
It is. Now sometimes certain herbal things will actually have like a benefit. Like there's that one tree in Africa that they discovered there's compounds in it that help fight malaria, and it actually works better as a plant extract because of the fact that there's slight variations which makes it harder for the parasite to adapt to it.
But isn't that the same substance that they started producing in yeast using biotech?
Yeah, but they still figured out that trying to keep it closer to the original plant extract is actually beneficial in that case. That does not mean that all herbal stuff has that benefit, however.
Yeah, it just... I don't understand why people... because, I mean, this is not the first research that's pointed this out, but it's the first to use genomic analysis to really quantify how fucking carcinogenic this stuff is.
Yeah, seriously.
It's greater mutation rates than cigarettes with lung cancer or UV radiation with skin cancer.
Seriously, that stuff is so bad for you.
Yeah, so...
Please don't kill all the hippies. Hippies, don't kill yourselves with this.
Oh, no, okay, never mind. I was gonna go to a very dark place.
We kind of need the hippies, though. Think about it. Come on.
Yeah.
They're the ones who know how to farm by hand.
I'm sure I could figure it out. So, if for some reason you were taking something with birthwort, which again is just sounds like the grossest herb ever.
Seriously.
Stop. And if you know someone who does that, tell them to stop.
Seriously, stop taking that stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, it's kind of a mess story, but I liked it. Genome duplication aids plant survival in saline soil.
Oh, that's useful.
Yeah, polyploidism, I think that's what it's called, is when plants have, like, multiple copies of their entire genome, which is pretty common in plants. But so basically they did experiments with Arabidopsis and found that things with 4 versus 2 copies of the genome store more potassium, so that the potassium helps balance, sort of counteract the sodium.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
So, I mean, a lot of crops are already polyploidy, but the idea is that maybe if they multiply the genomes in certain diploid crops, they could become more saline resistant.
That way, when idiocracy happens, the plants won't stop growing as fast, because after being watered with Brondo for years.
Yeah. So
it's got electrolytes.
So I just thought that was kind of cool, and it's kind of nice because from a genome editing perspective, it's actually pretty easy to make plants double their genome.
Oh, actually, wait, potassium is an electrolyte, so the plants, they have electrolytes. The plants are what plants crave.
Yeah.
Watch Idiocracy, but don't take it too seriously.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is a pretty funny movie, but a lot of people are just like, Idiocracy is true because all the dumb people are having so many kids, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, they're not genetically dumb, they're undereducated.
I mean, there is some genetic basis for intelligence.
Yeah, but most of the people that most of the Walmart people, as the Yuppies call them, are perfectly intelligent. They're just looked down on because, I guess, of how they look.
So wait, who's calling people Yuppies?
Me.
Oh. So what's worse, being a Yuppie or a Walmart person? What's the hierarchy of these terms?
Such a philosophical question cannot be summed up by mere arithmetic.
So the Yuppies, hipsters, hippies, Walmart people, something else.
This is America. There's enough hate to go around for all of them.
Yeah. By the way, the Herb story was from Pause for effect.
Da-da-da-da.
Longer pause for effect. John Hopkins. John Hopkins.
John Hopkins.
And the genome duplication causing greater resistance to saline was from Purdue.
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 Purdue. Good for them.
Yep, so, what news do you have, Jack?
Well, they found this, they discovered this, like, new adorable animal from, like, Ecuador and, Colombia that looks like a cross between a house cat and a teddy bear.
I think I've heard of that.
It's called the Olinguito. And basically, they've had specimens of this in museums for, like, freaking years. It's just that they thought that they were all Olingos. And some person, let me find who they are. Okay, first, let me tell you, these are all, like, the Olinguito and the Olingos, they're related to raccoons. So it's a raccoon type thing.
But not terrifying.
Let's see, Helgen was, like, the name of this person, was, like, going through all of these freaking specimens of Olingos, because they were trying to figure out, like, different species and distribution of them, right? And they were looking through all of them, and they discovered that some of the Olingo specimens around in the different universities, just all over the place, and also some of the data showed that some of them were not Olingos, some of them were a completely different species, and we've had these specimens for, like, literally 100 years.
Yeah.
So we've known about this thing, we just didn't know about this thing. And you know what else is crazy? Anyway, they also, like, went down there to make sure that, you know, the species didn't, like, already become extinct, right? And, no, it's still around. However, like, 42% of its habitat has already been destroyed, so yay. Yay us. But yeah, it turns out the whole, like, the main differences are, like, the Olinguitos have, like, smaller skulls, and there's, like, teeth difference, and they also have, like, way thicker fur. Thicker and longer fur. And they tend to live up in, like, the Andes Mountains, around, like, 5,000 to 9,000 feet above sea level. Mm-hmm. And also, whoever wrote this article was one smug motherfucker. Because the way he worded everything. He or she. Anyway.
Yeah, Jack, may be sexist.
Yeah, anyway. It turns out, like, in 1920, this thing was almost discovered because there was this, like, zoologist in New York who was just who was looking at one of the specimens and thought, you know, this might be a new species. This might not be an Olingo because it looks so unusual. But he just never got around to publishing it or going into it.
How the fuck do you almost discover something? That seems like a pretty binary proposition.
Yeah, I know, right? But apparently this guy found a way. Science always finds a way, Q. Science always finds...
No, nature finds a way. Nature finds a way.
Nature finds a way to almost discover itself?
Whoa. That
Oh.
was some deep shit.
Man, everything smells like copper right now, I'm not even lying.
Wait, what?
I'm tasting purple, I'm tasting the rainbow.
Anyway,
speaking of the brain, okay, so
Wait,
you know
what?
the whole like right brain, left brain thing?
yeah.
How like a right brain person is all logical and a Vulcan.
So me.
Well, left brain person is like a Vulcan, and a right brain person is like a Beta Z. So,
Okay.
like they,
By
you know,
the
they,
way, for the Star Trek fans, not for the non-Star Trek fans that didn't follow that analogy, get out. Anyway, continue.
all right. Anyway, so basically, the whole idea that's the whole like accepted wisdom has been that you use the left side of your brain more, and I use the right side of my brain more. Turns out that's horse shit. Total horse shit. Like, there is a lot of stuff that is centered on the left side of the brain. Like, there are certain things that the left side hemisphere does more of, and certain things the right hemisphere does more of. Like, they had an example in this damn article.
Pause for effect.
Pause for effect. Do.
We've got a lot of views on the last episode of the podcast. I'm expecting not a repeat of that. It may have been the title. 322 views. That's quite a lot for the podcast.
That is quite a lot for the podcast. Yeah, I'm proud of us. I am proud of us. Anyway, how they discovered this, I'm just gonna move on. Basically, left brain, right brain, everybody's heard that shit. And everybody's just well, language, you do more of the language on the right side of the brain, or whichever, and you do more math on the other side of the brain, and no. Well, it turns out that you use a bunch of the left side when you're doing certain things, and a bunch of the right side when you're doing certain stuff, because it just matters where in the brain you're keeping the equipment to do those things. That's the only determiner about which side of the brain you're using. That's it, that's all.
Well, I'm saying, is the various parts, are they consistent with every side? In each person?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So
it's just that they think that, okay,
so how is that different from what is common knowledge?
Well, left brain and right brain, it was believed that people who use one side of their brain more tend to have certain personality traits than people who use the other side. Well, it turns out that's not based on lateral division of the brain at all. It's actually based on more, basically it's actually way more complicated than that. What makes your personality has nothing to do with brain dominance.
I see.
Of different brain dominance, different sections being more dominant than others. Basically, somebody who will use their math center of the brain, which there is such thing as a math center. We talked about it one time. When people will use the math center of their brain more often. That doesn't mean they're math personality people. It just means they do a lot of fucking math. If you talk a lot, you'll end up using that side of your brain more. That's because you fucking talk a lot, because your talking is kept on that side of the brain. The right side, I think.
So it's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario, I guess.
Why are we bringing poultry into this?
You're saying that the side of your brain you don't use doesn't determine your personality, but instead your personality can influence what activities you do, and therefore you use more of a certain part of the brain.
Well, it's not even like that, because everybody actually just uses both sides of the brain equally.
Well, yeah, obviously, they at some point, but some people are going to use some parts more.
Yeah, but only when they're doing that activity.
Yeah.
You know how different activities connect to each other? Let's say you're talking about math, so it'd be the language part and the math part both communicating with each other. Those would only correspond to one full side of the brain if both of those were on the same side of the brain. I can't remember where the math part is. I can't remember where the language part is. Left, right, march, shut up. I do not care. But yeah, I always kind of thought the left brain, right brain thing sounded like horse shit. So, yeah. Anyway. Ta-da! As far as personality, if you're one of the more creative, thoughtful types, or if you're one of the logic, detail-oriented types, that's still a thing. It's just not. It has nothing to do with brain lateralization at all. Okay, final story. Also for that guy who asked us that question about the spinal injuries, they figured out how neurons get wired.
That's cool.
Okay, so the the axons.
Axons.
And the axons and the dendrites.
Yes.
It turns out that there's two different versions of the signaling protein. Kinase C. There's the full-length kinase and then a truncated kinase. Truncated means shorter. And basically, both varieties will compete to bind with a molecular partner the protein's called PAR3. And if the short one connects to PAR3, the cell will grow a dendrite. If the long one pairs it up, that cell will make an axon. So basically, neurons, they're cells that are shaped all funny, and they have the branch side and the root side. The root side's the axon, the branch side is the dendrites.
Go ahead.
And basically, the cells essentially have polarity, because the dendrites have to lock onto an axon, and that's how the neurons connect together. Mm-hmm. And what decides where the axon's going to be, basically the short kinase that paired with the PAR3, all of that will actually segregate to one side, and that will make the dendrites. But the long kinase C will connect with will like mix with the par3 and go to the other side and make the axons. So they actually figured out how that happens. Like they actually like had these neurons in a petri dish and they flooded it where they made it so that it was like just the long pairs. It was all only axons. They made it so it was just the short pairs. It was all only dendrites.
Wow.
Yeah, like seriously. They figured out how to like make that happen. So people with spinal cord injuries, they can actually, they're very close to now being able to grow axons that have been cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That is. It's. I swear we did not plan this.
We did not.
We just bookended the podcast with two very poignant and related stories.
Yep. It's your lucky day, guy. What was that guy's name again?
Something.
Yeah. Anyway, he knows who he is.
We're very professional.
You're welcome, guy. You're welcome.
Well, I think that's pretty much the highest note we can end the podcast.
Yeah,
really.
and we're gonna end it right now before Skype fucks up on us again.
Yeah, we actually made it through in like pretty much one try.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Okay, bye now.